right? So let's start. Okay, human eye. So we will study first about human eye and let's see how much we can cover. If we can complete it, then it's very good. If not, we will leave it to some level till where we can. Chalo, aa jao, human eye. The human eye, one of your most precious and delicate organ. अगर किया तो क्या? Okay, let's see how the human eye's structure is all about. Right. So this is the white portion of the eye that you see, which is called, this portion, the outer portion is called the cornea. Okay. After the cornea, we will have something which is known as the iris. ठीक है, एक एक करके बनाते हैं, फिर धीरे धीरे समझेंगे. After the iris, we will have the eyelens, and the eyelens will be held by something called suspensory ligaments. Okay. Shall we? So pay attention and let's get on to it from one by one. Okay. The first part, the outer portion of your eye, which is actually bulged outwards, the white portion of your eye, that actually works as a protective part of your eye. So this is known as the cornea. Cornea is itself also having a convex shape. The cornea itself also has a convex shape. इसको आप double wall करके भी बना सकते हैं. Before the cornea, what we will have is the eyelids. So the eye is almost comparable to a camera. Like in a camera, you have the, the lens cover. The lens cover is like the eyelid. After that, you will have what is known as the filter. The filter works as the cornea. Then you will be creating your aperture, which will be decided by the pupil. And then the shutter speed is like the iris. Then you have the lens. Instead of a film, we have retina out here. आइए नेमिंग करना शुरू करते हैं एक एक करके, and then just see what each part is all about. Okay, this is known as your iris. So one by one, the structure of the eye is such that first we will have the eyelid. After eyelid, the bulged out portion is called the cornea. The cornea is the first protection to your eye, right? It's a transparent what you call medium through which light will enter. Most important for us to understand here is the iris. The iris is actually a colored diaphragm. Based on the iris, you will be, it is one of your biometric what you call identity also. The iris, everyone's iris will have a different sort of a color. So whenever your biometric identification or your biometric measurements are taken, they'll ask you to look between, all of you must have gone for Aadhaar validation. So they'll ask you to look between, you had, I'm asking again, before your grade 10 exams, please make sure you get your Aadhaars validated once. Okay, this is very important. Once in 10 years, you should validate. Last, you must have validated your Aadhaar when you were a kid. And by the time the 10th examination happens and 12th, there will be a huge line. So whenever you have a free time, go into any Aadhaar center and get it done. Your Aadhaar should be verified once in 10 years. So your iris is captured. So just like we have got, our iris are usually what? We are usually black or brown. So if you go to places like Scandinavia and Czechoslovakia, you have hazel eyes, greenish and all. That color happens due to the iris. Now this iris is a diaphragm. Now, although I'm drawing it from 2D perspective, the iris can be compared, like if you have seen an aircraft and if you've seen the aircraft's engine and the turbine blades, have you seen when the engines start on, there will be a circular sort of a formation that takes place. So the iris can also actually open up. When the iris opens, it creates a hole. And that whole creation is known as the pupil. Pupil is not something that there is an organ about it. The iris can actually rotate. And while the iris rotates, the hole gets created. This hole can increase in diameter as well as decrease in diameter. And that particular hole, which is the black dot. So when I'm going for specs, they will also measure what is known as PD, pupil distance. Your pupil distance may not be symmetric. Somebody may be 23 and 24.5. Somebody may be 23 on either side. So this portion, the opening that is created, sorry children, the opening that is created, this opening will be known as the pupil of the eye. Pupil. So who controls the size of the pupil? The iris will control the size of the pupil. Now say for example, you are watching a movie theater. So the movie theater is dark. At that time, you need more light to see anything inside the movie theater. So your iris will adjust in such a manner that the entire iris will open up, creating a large pupil so that you can see everything. And as soon as the movie ends and you get out of the movie theater, now the exterior is very, very illuminated and your eye cannot take that much of light. So the brain cells, the signal that it is sensing is reduce the pupil size. So immediately when you get out of the theater, your eyes will be like this. Similarly, when you get in a theater and a movie has started, you're a little bit late, you're unable to see anything because you have come from outside. Outside light is very enormous amount of light is there, pupil is small. And with that small pupil, you have entered a dark theater. So you're unable to see. You will allow some time, so pupil will automatically adjust. Just like the shutter of a camera, the pupil will adjust. The pupil doesn't adjust. The iris starts its adjustments and creates more opening. And that opening says you are having a large pupil right now. Have you understood up to pupil? In terms of physics, our entire study starts from this part, which is known as the eye lens. So the eye lens is this is the lens of the eye. Lens. Now, when you look at the eye lens, this is the interesting part. Eye lens. The eye lens is flexible. It's also gelatinous. It's gelatinous. It's convex. And when we talk about flexible means you can actually adjust its curvature. You can adjust the curvature. What I mean by that, suppose my lens is like this. I can make this lens go thinner or I can make this lens go bulge out the lens also. When a lens becomes thinner, right? When a lens becomes thinner, it's said to be less converging. Less converging, and we will say less power. Less converging means less converging power. So this means, you know, power is always the reciprocal of the focal length. So here the focal length will be large focal length. This is where nature has blessed us like anything. The same lens, if we want, we can make it less converging. And if we want, we can make the lens more converging. So this will be more converging. Okay. Means it has more power. And more power means short focal length. Children, in this chapter, understanding is very crucial because you get a lot of assertion reasoning type of questions. So if your funda is not clear, you will not be able to answer correctly. So this is called, what do we call it? We call it more converging. So shorter focal length or less focal length. Have you understood this? Now, how is this? How do we do this operation? This is done by a pair of muscles out here. And these muscles are known as the ciliary muscles. Okay. See, he went to Lock House, but he is studying so hard. So this is known as ciliary muscles. Ciliary muscles. And similarly, you will have this. This is also ciliary muscles. How many of you have drawn an eye now almost like some Parwal ka beach jaisa? Look at your eye. I can't see the online kiddos they're drawing. I would have been more interested to see what type of eye they have drawn. Shreya, how is the eye in your case? Some mango or orange? Hey Anurag, show your eye diagram if you have drawn so far. Hey, don't give me that nonsense answer. I'm leaving space for the eye diagram. Okay, ciliary muscles. Now these ciliary muscles, remember, like they are something like paneer, and paneer can be soft paneer as well as some paneers which are not in good color quality. We call them as rigid paneer. Remember this anecdote that I'm saying. Paneer can be soft and paneer can be rigid also, right? And from the ciliary muscles, the lenses are actually held by what are known as suspensory ligaments. Suspensory ligaments, right? These are known as suspensory ligaments. Whether you want to study engineering, whether you want to study design, whether you want to study medical and all, if you cannot draw, then you cannot express your ideas. That's the first thing, right? This much is okay. After that, we have this portion which acts as like the screen. So this is known as this portion is known as the retina of the eye. So this is known as the retina. And then from here we will be having our ocular nerves, which are actually going to your brains. And in every eye, we will also have something which is known as a blind spot. There will be a spot, and this spot is known as the blind spot. Just write till this much, and then we discuss further. This is known as the blind spot. Again. So look, something important that you need to understand here. This is the lens. Okay, take a minute to understand, then I'll give you time to draw. This is my lens. As I said that this eye lens. So when you use a camera and you're using an autofocus DSLR, then when you will see some rectangles inside that autofocus DSLR. So when you focus it, the DSLR automatically opens up. It will open and it will close, right? So here, this thing is done by your brain. Your DSLR God has given in such a manner that the eye lens can immediately become thin or it can become thick. What we need to understand is that this thin and thick control is actually done by the ciliary muscles. This is very important. When you are becoming thin, please understand, when you become thin, what happens to the size of the lens? The size of the lens increases in length. Ciliary muscles are pushed upwards and downwards. The ciliary muscle is said to be relaxed. This is very important. However, the ligaments will actually pull the lens. Please understand. These muscles want to relax. When they want to relax, their shape reduces. When this shape will reduce in downward manner, this will reduce in upward manner. In both these circumstances, the suspensory ligaments attached to them will be now pulled. This one will be pulled in the downward manner and this one will be pulled in the upward manner. Lens becomes thin. But what is the condition of the ciliary muscle? Ciliary muscle is relaxed. We will always study everything in terms of vision with respect to not lens but the ciliary muscles. If we say that the lens is right now relaxed, if the vision is relaxed, that means lens is long. Ciliary muscles are in smaller shape. And say suppose this bulges out. When this will bulge out, suspensory ligaments will become loose, but the ciliary muscles will become strained. Ciliary muscles will become strained because this muscle has to fall down, this muscle has to fall up, fall down. So their lengths increase. Is this concept understood or not? This is what will be very important when we study accommodation of the eye. So based on that, light rays will be entering, right? Our light rays will be entering the eye. So let's say this is a, let me pick up a different color. So these are light rays. So the eye being a converging lens, so the eye will always converge an image where right on the retina. And since this is a convex lens, so the eye will be forming a real image on the retina. However, the image will always be inverted. Our brain cells then correct the image. The image that is formed is inverted. So a lot of things, note karte jana. This is a convex lens. Image form will be real and image form will be inverted. So we usually we will get a real and we will get an inverted image. And this inverted image is corrected by the brain. We also have a blind spot in eye where no image formation takes place. Blind spot is the spot where no image formation takes place. If these rays converge before the retina, then also you will not have vision. And if these rays converge beyond the retina, then also you will not have vision. Vision of what? Of the object that you are trying to see. say I'm trying to see something which my friend is able to see, I am not able to see. That means either the images, the convergence is happening before the retina, or the convergence is happening beyond the retina. So this particular retina has got some sensitive cells, and these cells are known as rods and cones. Rods are the cells which are rod-like in shape, and cones are the cells which are cone type in shape. Okay, cone stands for C, C stands for color. So cones are the cells which will help you distinguish and identify colors. A child who is colorblind will be actually poor, or a person who is colorblind will be actually poor in terms of distribution or allotment of cones. Whereas nocturnal animals like bats, owls, they can see in the dark. Rods are actually sensitive to light. Remember, rods are sensitive to light and cones are sensitive to color. So if you are unable to, so questions may come. If a person is unable to distinguish between colors, then that person is actually having problem in cones, right? And for that, the medicine is, natural medicine is vitamin A, riboflavin. So more of vitamin carrot. So usually what happens, whenever light falls on this eye, the eye's photosensitive cells immediately start sensing it up and create a current. That current runs down to your brain, and the brain is your super microprocessor. I don't know how many Intel cores are there. Then they actually immediately process that signal and also process it in the right order. But from the physics, from perspective of physics, all we will be interested is the retina behaves like the screen, or it is like the film of a camera, understood? And the lens is like the lens of a camera. The eyelids are like the lens cover of a camera. The cornea is like the filter of a camera. The iris is like the shutter. The pupil is like the aperture, and rays go inside. This is much is what we need to study about eyes in terms of a holistic cover. Also, the human eye is such interesting piece of an organ or a sub-organ that it is gelatinous, flexible, jelly-like, convex in nature, can change its curvature. When we change a curvature, remember, curvature is this. If the curvature increases, converging power is more. That means focal length will be less. And if the curvature is less, that means the lens is more slender. In that case, we will say converging power is less, focal length is more. Understood? Converging or making it slender is all the role of this muscle called ciliary muscles. If the ciliary muscles are relaxed, relaxed means the ciliary muscle will be up, the ciliary muscle will be down. In this case, this particular lens will be in a slender stretched mode. And if this ciliary muscle is actually falling down and this ciliary muscle is a little bit going in the upward manner, then the lens is actually bulging out. At that time, suspensory ligaments will be relaxed. So when the ciliary muscle is relaxed, suspensory ligament is stretched, lens is stretched. ठीक है, इतना समझ में आया? Any questions so far? No. ठीक है, आइए. Yeah.
The signal is in the form of a negative current.
Yes.
So how does that signal pass the rods and cones? They form an electric.
No, not that. These are all photosensitive cells. Photocells. A photocell, whenever light falls on a photocell will give you a voltage, just like a solar cell. So the intensity depends upon, this is complex biochemistry. Rods and cones are actually two type of cells which are present in your retina. Rods are the cells which are sensitive to light. Cones are the cells which help you distinguish between colors. To remember, always remember C for cone, C for color. Rod cells will be more in nocturnal animals, children suffering from night blindness, which was once a disease in India. Like when we were kids, it used to come on Doordarshan. Mohan raat ko nahi dekh pata hai, पौष्टिक आहार खाइए. So the child cannot see in dark. That means the child is perennially having a problem with the allotment of rods. And children who have, colorblind children, right? Colorblind is a very common disease. Colorblind people have problems with cone distribution. So things like an eagle has a lot of cones. Eagle is able to spot its prey from a very large or a very great height. Yeah, fresh fish, yellowish in color. So he's able to do that because he's got large number of cones. This much is okay? Okay. Let's now go to the next section. So when our next section will be to study a topic which is known as the power of accommodation or accommodation. Power of accommodation. Now let's understand what is accommodation. Accommodation is the ability to accommodate. So whenever we have an eye is going to see two type of things. Okay, in language of physics, we will see some things which are known as distant, and we'll see some things which are known as near. Distant objects, and we will see something which are known as near objects. Let's first understand this distant and near, how this thing happens. All right, so let's say, okay, how many spaces will you leave, Anurag? The whole chapter is about drawing. How many times will you leave spaces? Two more eyes have come up. Okay, so let's say the concept of distant objects. Distant means far off. If you have a distant object, then the type of rays that will be coming from that object are taken to be parallel rays. This is the optics of this. Distant object means you will have parallel rays. Have you understood? And if you are able to see that object, that means your eye is able to converge these parallel rays right onto your retina. If this understood? Okay. If you have a nearby object, right? Say nearby object. So I have a nearby object out here. The rays that will be emitted from it will be divergent rays. Nearby object will give me divergent rays. And if your eye is able to again converge them on the retina, you are able to see these things, right? So a human eye focuses on two type of things. One is called distant object and one is called near objects. The distant object is such a manner, is considered in such a manner that the rays coming from distant object are taken to be parallel rays, and nearby objects are always. इसको एकदम आराम से सुनते जाओ, your story will become clear. Clear? Okay. Now let's see when you are trying to see a distant object, distant vision. So when you are trying to see a distant vision, your eye lens will actually become slender and long, right? Distant vision. So in distant vision, the first thing we will have is less curvature. Less curvature, that means less convergence. Note down in this manner, it will become very clear for you. That means the eye lens has less power. That means you are having greater focal length. Greater focal length. Clear? And during this moment, if you look at your suspensory ligaments, your suspensory ligaments will be in stretched mode. However, as I told you, our important thing will not be the suspensory ligament, they will be the ciliary muscles. So these are my ciliary muscles and these are my ciliary muscles. So both these ciliary muscles, right? Both the ciliary muscles will actually be in relaxed mode. So a distant vision is actually the eye is relaxed. In other sense, we say that the eye is unaccommodated. Achha, what do I mean by that? Imagine, my child, you are sitting in one single seat of the bus and there are no more children getting inside the bus. You are relaxed. Do you have to accommodate anyone on that seat? No. So you are relaxed. Whenever you are relaxed, your eye is said to be unaccommodated. आपके ऊपर कोई tension नहीं है. Right? Your eyes are at the most convenient manner that it can be. In other sense, we will say there is no strain on your eye. As I told you, this will be always on the basis of the ciliary muscles. The ciliary muscles are relaxed, no strain, unaccommodated. Is this clear? Right? ये सब clear होना है, नहीं तो गड़बड़ कर लोगे. So let's see the other one in which we have a near vision. A near vision. When you are in near vision, your lens is actually bulged out. Your lens becomes bulged out. So the parameters that we will be writing now are more curvature, right? Then next we will write more convergence. If you have more convergence, means you have more power, and if you have more power, you have short focal length. Is this clear? Shorter focal length. I should teach biology, पढ़ा सकता हूँ. Not bad. More power. So let's see what is the thing happening now in terms of our ciliary, our suspensory ligaments. Now suspensory ligaments will be relaxed, but we are not supposed to study by suspensory ligaments. We will study by the ciliary muscles. Our ciliary muscles will be now in strained mode. All right. So both my ciliary muscles will be, both the ciliary muscles are stressed mode. They are in stressed mode, and that's why this will be called this is accommodated. Your eye is in accommodated state, and this is called the eyes. It's stressed or strained, whatever. Stress mode, stress vision. Means it's like this. See, if you have to see something which is very near to you, आप ऐसे कोशिश करो ना, कोई चीज पास, आपको आंख बड़ा करना पड़ता है. And when you make your eyes big, don't you feel an immediate pain out here? Yes, the vision is strained, or it's a stressed vision. But whenever you see something far off, that is a very cool vision. So in grade 12, when you will be studying about a microscope, then in a microscope you will find that your vision is always stressed. Understood? Your vision will be stressed. So from here comes the story of a normal human being, right? So this normal human being should be able to see something very far off and should be able to see things very near to him also. Don't go by the gender and say that sir is always saying in terms of so best is to say person. So this is his distant vision, and this is his near vision. So when we study it from physics and optics part, or from optometry, we call this as the far point. What is far point? The maximum distance that you can see without considering any stress in your eye. That's called your far point. And the near vision is known as the near point. The minimum distance which you can see clearly without just stressing your eyes is called the near point, right? Now you are a human being. So for every human being, there will be a far point, there will be a near point. My far point, near point is not same as you. But if you are a normal human being, then there are some standards. The far point is always taken as infinity. कहते हैं ना, दूर तक देख सकता है. The far point is always taken as infinity, and the near point is taken as 25 centimeters. This is also known as LDDV, least distance of distinct vision. Least distance of distinct vision. Least distance of distinct vision. This term you will hear a lot in grade 12, LDDB. So here is a catch. Normal human being should be able to see clearly last at 25 centimeters. And when you go for specs and all, this 25 centimeters is considered to be elbow length. This is 25 centimeters. That's where you should read it. Beyond 25, if you are able to see, then you are too blessed. But after 25, your eyes will be in stressed mode. Your ciliary muscles will be stressed. And remember the paneer word, as I said. And the maximum that you should be able to see is known as your far point, which is infinity. But when I consider a person as a whole, say if I pick up Aryas, then I won't say infinity and 25 centimeters. These might be different for Aryas. But for a normal human being, the far point is what? Infinity, and the near point is 25 centimeters, which is also known as LDDV. Now comes, sir, how do you define this word called accommodation? The ability of the human eye, to form an image of a far off and a nearby object at the retina by adjusting the focal length, stroke curvature, stroke converging power of its eye lens is called accommodation. What is मेरी आंखों का accommodation क्या है? My ability to be able to see far off as well as nearby. For this, am I doing something? Yes, I am changing the curvature of my lens. For far off, I am reducing the curvature. For nearby, I am increasing the curvature. Who is helping me? Ciliary muscles. So what is the power of accommodation? What is the power of accommodation of a camera? The power of accommodation of a camera is to focus a very far off object. Have you seen some shots in movies where they try to show off a far off thing, then the near person becomes blurred? And when they focus on the near person, have you seen a batsman batting in cricket? The whole entire crowd will be blurred. If you want to make the crowd clear, the batsman will go blurred. So that's the accommodation power of the camera. So the accommodation power of my eye is the ability of my eye to be able to form an image of a distant and a nearby object on my retina by adjusting the convergence or by adjusting the curvature of my eye lens is called the power of accommodation of my eye. Who is responsible for it? Ciliary muscles, that paneer, as I told you. So if ciliary muscles go wrong, what will go wrong? Power of accommodation will go wrong. So power of accommodation going wrong means what will happen? You will not be able to see far off and nearby things parallelly at the same time. Means we do take a fraction of a second. For example, you try to see somewhere right at my kitchen out here and try to read the maker's name on the pen out here. Immediately the eye is changing. So if I was a camera at this moment, the lens is changing. So that is called the power of accommodation. Clear? So at first stage of eyes class, we have only this much where we discuss about eye. So are you fine with, if I go back to this slide, are you fine with all these items? Like it starts from, if I name them, it starts from eyelid. This is number 1, then cornea, then starts with iris, then with pupil, then with lens, then we have ciliary muscles, then we have suspensory ligaments. Okay. After that, we need to know 6, 7, the retina, the blind spot, the ocular nerves, and then 10A and 10B. Clear, बच्चा? ये से clear होना है पूरा. How many 2 7s? Oh, retina and blind spot. Very good. Always, whether you understand in the class, that is not important. Whether you are able to find a mistake in the teacher is more important. I really appreciate that. 8. So, ciliary muscles में 5 5 ही तो रहेगा, दोनों ही तो ciliary muscles. सभी 5 है. हाँ, तब क्या कर रहे थे? अंडा दे रहे थे क्या? अच्छा, इतना सर को मानते हो? वाह. अभी बोलो, ciliary muscles में कितना? Lens 5. Ciliary muscles will get 6. Then suspensory ligaments gets 7. Then blind spot, retina gets 8. Blind spots get 9. This gets 10. And then this will be 11A and 11B. Clear? Are you fine with power of accommodation? Have you understood near point, far point, near vision, far off vision? Then what is LDDV? Is all these things clear? Power of accommodation is clear. Very good. Shall we go ahead now? Chaliye. Next is defects of vision. Defects. Three types of defects we'll study. The first defect is known as myopia. Myopia is also known as nearsightedness. Nearsightedness means able to see near. Able to see near objects. Able to see near objects. And this is the most common problem that children suffer from. All of you children in my class, whoever is wearing specs is a myopic child. Got it? Able to see near. So let's see, what is the problem with a myopic eye? Okay. A myopic eye will be an eye which will be actually more bulged. Right? Pedaishi, the lens is more bulged. The eye is more bulged. As a result of which, what is happening? Let's see. The child is able to see near, but the child is not able to. Rather than drawing the diagram, understand the phenomenon, how it happens. Right? Let's say, let's put one axis on this eye. Let me say this, the axis. Okay. Okay, let's see. So let's see, a myopic eye. Now every eye must have a near point and must have a far point. What is the near point? Near point is 25 centimeter. Typical problem of a child in class, you will see in younger days, what he will do, as the teacher writes something, the child will get up, take the copy, go near the board and then note it down. That means the child is able to see near. You guys, if you open your specs right now, you will be able to read your book, but you cannot read a highway sign because you are nearsighted. You can sight near. Please understand, this is very interesting. This, you can sight near. That means what has happened is you have something which is known as your near point. Okay, this is your regular near point, and let's say there is a far point out here for a normal eye, but you are not able to see far. Your far point has actually shifted. Your far point has actually come somewhere here or somewhere here. Do you agree or not? That is the reason you are not. Why did I say it has shifted? What do I mean by shift? Sir, I can't see till infinity, but I can see up to 10 meters. That means what was infinity has now shifted somewhere to 10 meters. That is what you can see. You can see your near point. No issues about that. Beyond near point, up to a level you can see. Beyond that, you are not able to see. So what is your problem? You are actually either born with an eye which has more curvature. Acha, the cornea itself is also like a convex surface which will also converge. And the eye lens will do the remaining part of the convergence. Have you seen some, typically in Bengali girls, we have this lot, very big eyes. If a person is having more bulged eyes, I can't name it, it's being recorded. So there are some actresses, if you see, right? If the eye is, one of the actresses in Telugu film industry also, if the eye is more bulged, obviously the cornea is more convex, it will converge more. And the eye lens will converge it further. So what is happening in that case, the rays which are coming from far off places, let's say distant rays, let's say this is a distant ray, and I told you distant rays are always what, beta? Parallel. So there will be somewhat convergence right at the cornea also, some convergence at the cornea, some minor convergence. And since this is heavily converged, your, what do you call, your eye lens is heavily converged or heavily bulged, your image is forming before the retina. And that's the reason you are not able to see. Have you understood? Question arises, sir, then how am I able to see near of things? Oh, for near of you don't have problems. Nearby rays are always what? divergent rays. So these divergent rays will get little bit converged, and these rays are actually getting met here. So you are able to see your near point item. Did you understand this diagram or not? This is very, very important. नहीं तो आप आंसर नहीं कर पाओगे. Far off rays get extra converged. However, nearby objects can. Now we need to give this person some sort of treatment. So let's see what is the treatment that we will do. Now, generally children study this treatment also in the wrong manner. I'll not say schools, many people say, since the rays are getting too much converged, so an ideal treatment would be to put, don't draw right now, a convex lens. What does the convex lens do, children? It diverges the rays. So this convex lens will actually diverge these rays. Instead of making them straight, it will diverge, and it will diverge a little bit here, and then the ray will come somewhere here, and the ray will come somewhere here, and the image will be formed at this place. This is how a book will teach you, and majority of the people will teach you. Don't draw this, I'll erase this part, which is correct. Since the rays are getting converged, extra converge, let us put a divergent. ज़्यादा ही आ जाता है, so we'll diverge it, and then it will go and fall at the right place. You know, in our class there was a guy who used to stammer. His name was Sanjit. By the time Sanjit comes, he will actually, his roll number is 26. So at 26, if he tries to say yes sir, the yes sir will never come out. So he has to practice it from 23, 22, 26, yes sir. And at that time, if you hold his mouth, he gets very angry because he has missed it. Similarly, your rays are already getting converged. So create some divergence so that they go and converge at the right point. This is how majority of the people will explain you, but that is actually not the story. The story is something different from there. Let's see what is the story. Okay. So, yeah. Let's see what is the actual story. So let's first see your problem. Your problem is that your rays are coming here, and these rays are getting converged right here itself. This is your problem. Now tell me, as a myopic child, can you see your far point? No. Can you see your near point? Yes. What if I design a technology in which every far off object's image will be forming at your near point? मजा आ रहा है? Every far off thing's image will be forming at your near point. You'll be able to see. That is what the optometrist does. वो जो टक 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 खोलते रहता है ना, एक के बाद एक डाल रहा है. He is trying to find an iteration as to how to get the far object at your near point, because this is your strength. You can see near. There is no doubt with you. So every far, if I can focus on your near, then you should be able to see them. That job is actually done by the concave lens. So if you put a concave lens, now just see what happens. If you put a concave lens, then I'm just changing the color, okay? I'm changing the color to yellow. So this ray will get a little bit diverged out here. This ray will get little bit diverged. Diagram is not exactly correct. And you will have the convergence out here. But that is not the interesting thing. The interesting thing is, my diagram may not be perfect, okay? These rays will exactly come and meet at your near point. I'll just shift the near point. 1 minute, wait. Let us shift your near point. These rays, where did it go? Yeah. These will come exactly at your near point. This is how your vision is corrected. The image that you are actually seeing on your retina, for this image, this object has come at your near point. And since you are using concave lens, everything is small for you. Just take out your specs and put it on your writing, and you see the size of writing. They are smaller than the actual thing. And go back to your chapter of refraction. Object placed anything between focus and infinity for a concave lens, image is erect, virtual, and smaller than the size of the object. So you are actually seeing smaller than the size of the object. Many people say it like this: since the rays get converged too much, put a divergent lens, they will diverge it and they will meet here. This is grade 8 explanation. Actual explanation is, still how are you able to see? You are able to see because your strength is your near point. If this far off object can be brought to your near point, you will be able to see by some jugglery. So what is the jugglery? We actually put a concave lens, and the concave lens creates an image of this far off out here, which will act as an object for your eye lens, and your eye lens will be focusing it on the retina. This is all about myopia. And since you are using what type of lens? Concave lens. So in a concave lens, just use your common sense. This is your concave lens. How to get the principal focus of a concave lens? Rays which are parallel will diverge out. Do you agree? So these rays will be pulled on this side. So this is your focus. Is your focal length negative? Yes. So all your specs powers are negative. You cannot use positive power. I am using positive power because I am using convex lens. You all are suffering from myopia, so you are wearing concave lens. Is myopia clear? समझ में आया? In myopia is corrected with a concave lens, and all myopic child will be negative power. All of you are negative. And myopia is like a disease. So if you don't wear specs, you will be actually carrying it forward, and there is a huge chance of this getting multiplied and powers increasing. Clear हुआ myopia? अगला वाला देखें. Okay. So let's see the correction. The correction is by suitable concave lens, which will be negative power, right? Distant objects image is formed on near point, which acts as object for eye lens, and further image on retina. So in a myopic eye, the disease is far point has reduced. It is no more infinity. It has reduced from infinity. So there can be a problem like this. Suppose a person's near point is how much? 80 centimeters. Or say the maximum a person can see is 80 centimeters. Design a lens for him. So how will you design the lens? Your formula will be same. Lens 1 by f is equal to 1 by v minus 1 by u. Lens is E. So what is V? V is where your image is getting formed. Your image will be now formed at how much place? 80 centimeters, because you can see maximum 80. How much you should have seen actually? Infinity. So the problem becomes 1 upon f is equal to 1 by v. Now what that v will also be negative. So this will become 1 by 80 minus 1 upon infinity. So 1 upon infinity is what, beta? 0. So 1 by 80. So divide 1 by 80. The answer will always be negative. That is your focal length. So the power will be reciprocal. So 80 means your focal length comes how much now? Focal length will be 80 centimeters. So your power will be, focal length will be 80. So power will be 1 upon 0.8 diopter. Power is always reciprocal of the focal length expressed in meters. ठीक है? ऐसे problems आप कर सकते हो. How was the problem? The problem was a person can see maximum up to 80 centimeters. Design an appropriate concave lens to address his myopia. So this distance is 80 for him. So we have to make this as his image. Object distance is up till infinity, and that way we design it. ठीक है? चलें. Any question on myopia? चलो समझिए इसका मतलब. आते हैं. हाँ.
So then, when I'm wearing the glasses, if I'm looking at an object from near, won't it diverge too much?
Which one?
So if I'm looking at an object from near, like it.
When your myopic eyes, generally, if you are seeing something at a nearby thing, your eye lenses are actually adjusted in that manner. If that's why your pupil distance, vision distance will be taken. When you see something near, you see from the bottom portion. Your eye will not have completely the same power all across your lens, even for your kiddos. That's why for children, they will be very much accurate to take the pupil distance, and the power will be more scattered in this portion only. So when you see your far off distance, your specs come more into role. And when you are seeing nearby distance, you can actually take off your specs. You don't need your specs to write your notes. You need your specs to see the blackboard. ठीक है? चले, next. Time है hypermetropia. Hypermetropia means farsightedness. Farsightedness. Farsightedness means able to see far off objects, unable to see nearby. Unable to see nearby objects. Now let us see the pain of this person first, and then we will address. So let's make its eye. Yeah. Now this person has a weird problem. Like the other person's lens were more converged. Here the lens is more slender. Less convergence is happening. What is happening? Less convergence is happening, right? So let's take a nearby object. Let's first see his problem. Nearby, unable to see nearby means we will take the least distance of distinct vision, which is his near point, which is 25 centimeters. At 25 centimeters, you should be able to see. This person is unable to see at 25 centimeters. He uses a selfie stick. थोड़ा दूर में लेके पड़ता है. That means in this case, the near point has shifted. His near point, so let's see his problem first. From his near point, two divergent rays are getting created. You agree with me? Two divergent rays are getting created, and since his eye lens is very slender and his convergence power is less, the eye lens is unable to converge it on the retina, and the eye lens is converging it somewhere beyond the retina. यहां प्रॉब्लम दूसरा है, वहां ज्यादा कन्वर्ज करता है, यहां कम कन्वर्ज कर रहा है. Have you understood? So what we do for this person, he tries to hold things far off and see. पास का नहीं देख पाता है ना, थोड़ा दूर ले जाओ तो दिखता है. Now थोड़ा दूर ले जाते हैं, ठीक है. So let's say his near point has shifted here, n dash. This is his near point. Now his problem will be addressed. How? From here also the rays will come. From here the rays come. Say this is one ray and this is another ray with less divergence. Now his image is forming at this place. This is his everyday problem. To read the manufacturer's name on this tablet sheet, he holds it far off. From here he can't read. We need to give this person some bit of comfort. So what should be our idea? Our idea should be such. देखो समझो. Now grade 8. Grade 8 will say what? Since this is converging less, put one more convergent lens and it will converge. That is grade 8. In grade 10 we will be smart. We'll say this fellow is able to see here, not see here. But if I keep an object here and I create its image here, then he did not use that selfie stick. He can keep it here, wear his specs and see it here. Actually it is there. Image is forming there for him, but he can see the object from here itself. Have you understood? So now I'll erase this once again. So this was his problem. So how do we correct his problem? This is n dash. His near point has got shifted. So here we will write near point has shifted away. So we will give a convex lens which will create image of near object at the shifted near point. This is high level, you are understanding it. So let's put our convex lens. So we will put a convex lens here. Extra convergence, right? So after extra convergence, what happens? These rays now, these rays get converged, slight, and finally the image is formed here. And if you look it from this side, then it's actually anyways, adjust it. So this is how he is able to see. Hypermetropia. So what type of lens did you use? You used the convex lens. For a convex lens, the focal length, you have always have a real focus. So the focal length is positive. So the power will always be positive. In your school, if you pick up 400, 500 children, definitely in every school there will be one kid. By looking at his specs, you can say that that child is wearing convex lens. It will be shining, it will be thick, and his eyes will look bigger. His eyes, I see your eyes smaller. His eyes will look bigger, and he is wearing. But hypermetropia at your age is a rare syndrome. Hypermetropia happens when the lens is actually slender and the lens is not able to converge. That means some stimulus from your ciliary muscle. It's not that your ciliary muscles are stiff. You are very young. You are still that fresh paneer. But that particular stimulus is not going, which will ask your ciliary muscles to actually get in constrained manner and your suspensory ligaments to become loose so that the lens can become mota. That is not happening in that particular child's age, which is very rare. That's why we say if you pick up 800 kids, maybe one kid will come with hypermetropia. Otherwise, all kids will be myopia. Fine. 2 minutes more and our third disease. That I will not draw. That you will understand. Our third disease is known as presbyopia. Presbyopia is something which is called, which is a hypermetropia. Same hypermetropia at an age. And this will happen to all, from Miss Universe to you. Everyone will have this. Presbyopia happens because, see, presbyopia is same as hypermetropia. That means you are not able to see nearby things. And this will start striking people from 37 onwards. For some people at 40, for me it was early. So we will not be able to see. If the mobile rings, who is calling, I am unable to see. If I hold it at a distance, I am able to see. But the distance goes on increasing. So what do? Selfie stick lena padega fir to read. So this will go on increasing. The reason is same. My lens is not able to converge. And why the lens is not able to converge is this. This has now become that cheap quality paneer. This has become rigid. Sometimes whoever eats non-veg, you will know some pieces are very fibrous. This is a fibrous type of a piece. It is no more smooth. It has become very tight. Sir, will it become tight for all of us? Yes, it will become tight for all of you. As a result, this will not be able to strain down. So your lens cannot become thick and bulged. And that is the condition which we know as presbyopia. Presbyopia will happen to all. So what is the cure for this? Again, convex lens. But I was a normal person, sir. At the age of 37, I got a convex lens. So these convex lens will be first known as reading lens. Typically, all your mothers by now will be a victim of this. Reading lens. Right? Reading lens means they need the lens only to read or to do some stitching embroidery work. Otherwise, it's not needed. So if you see a what do you call, grade level coordinator type of ma'am, generally she will be like this. To talk, you will talk like this. To see, you will see like this. Understood? But what about you? You already have one disease, and at 37 you will be blessed with one more disease. So now you will be having myopia with hypermetropia. So you will get into bifocal specs. So that time your specs will become, for the cheaper quality, it will become bifocal like this. And if you get into progressive, then your lens will be, this is a progressive lens. Here, this side will be plus power. My lens is progressive, plus, 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 and becomes minus. So if you hold my lens in this manner, you will see both type of vision. So from plus, I have now developed minor myopia is there with me. I was not myopic, but myopia has developed. So I have plus power here, and then it goes up. And then lens goes on as you add costs. So the cosmetic part can be wide angle. Wide angle means you will be able to see from this side, wide angle television, narrow corridor, wide corridor. Then we will have layers, Blu-ray layer if you are using. Be very, very protective. Like for me, my bread earning is my eye. So I cannot compensate on my lenses are very, very costly. They have Blu-ray protection. They have anti-scratch protection, anti-breaking protection. Nothing happens. No, nothing will happen. They are very costly. They are all with highly guarded fibers. And they are fibers. They are not glass. Otherwise, you will have a Surpanakha mark out here. So they are glass. Then they are photochromic also. When you go outside, you have got AGBR. So it will become black. The other pair is photochromic. And then this will be scratch resistant, dust resistant. So if any dust falls on it also, it will not scratch it. Unless you do. Okay. So the lenses cost go much. Lens cost, frame cost will be hardly 1,500. Lens cost will be around 9,000, 10,000. Costly lenses. And then you'll have a lot of layers. Then vision, then night driving vision, so that when a lot of street lights you watch, you don't see them as Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ. You are seeing them as one. Of late, I have discovered one more problem with me. When I drive at night, I am fine to drive without my specs. Means I can see the speedometer, but I can see every vehicle's number on the ORR clear. But in the daytime, I need specs. I don't know what is this new disease. So have you understood hypermetropia? Fourth, also we have a disease which is called cataract. Cataract is something which will, now cataract has started attacking at 53 also. Cataract is clouding of the eye. Slowly there will be a layer which will be formed in front of my eye, and my vision will become blurred, motia bindu. So nowadays cataract surgery is a day surgery. You go in the morning, like chickens, patients will be sitting, patient number 1, patient number 2, and it is done with your consciousness. So in cataract, they will first clear the cloud. It's like a cobweb has formed in front of your eye. They will clear it, and then they will plant something which is known as a IOL, intraocular foldable lens. Until the day you are alive on this earth, these lenses will be a part of your eye. Again, as much cost as you can bear. So after a cataract surgery, a person, if he can afford, does not need specs at all, because the right kind of lenses, but these lenses cost goes up. So generally at this stage, the person has also aged. Beta, mere pe aur kitna kharch karoge? I did not do stitching and all. So people make a compromise. What is the compromise? They will take lenses which will need reading lenses. So you will see some grandparents after the surgery, बहुत अच्छा दिखता है टीवी वी, पेपर पढ़ते वक्त थोड़ा सा I take papers. That means the lens has a compromise where near vision has been compromised to an extent, because you want to drawing and embroidery and all. And these lens packages also, they are insured, but they are very, very costly, very costly. So, and government has many things wherein villages, they are done cheap. Another is a psychic issue. A person who has worn specs and is of not millennials, one generation before that, and he has worn specs for 40 years, suddenly you tell him कि आपको और चश्मे की जरूरत नहीं है, he'll still feel the need for specs. Like many uneducated people think that an injection is a cure. So in villages, doctors also agree to that. They just take distilled water and push it in your body, and you feel, दो लगा है, बहुत आराम आ रहा है. Mania. As a child, when you fell down, your parents would have scolded the ground. You know, child feels, yes, I've been taken care. So specs, like if you ask my mother only, my mother still feels now. If you give the specs, it's like she feels she is able to see properly. But actually, she should be able to see the television without the specs also. But that's a menu. So this concludes. Our next topic will be with prism. I hope you have understood, tried to do justice with whatever biology I know.